Total Screen proudly presents their official podcast, On Screen, with your hosts, Tyson Gifford and William Roerig. Hello, everybody, and welcome to On Screen, the official podcast of the Total Screen. I am Tyson.
I'm Will.
And today we are going to be talking about Hawkeye episodes 3 and 4, some news, and a few things coming up on the horizon. Let's kick things off with our news, which is our On Beat segment. On Beat, as I said, is our news segment. Let's start things off. Charlie Cox is set to continue playing Daredevil, this time in the MCU.
It was confirmed. It was confirmed by the man himself, not Charlie Cox, but the man who runs the MCU.
Kevin Feige. He has confirmed it. He said that, however, whenever that happens, that it could only be Charlie Cox. That, to me, implies he's not committing to it, but it implies they already made a deal. They already have it planned. Have long been rumors.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
Echo was supposed to have them in it. There was rumors that he might show up in the new Spider-Man movie.
Obviously,
not as Daredevil, but as
obviously a contract has been signed, because Kevin Feige can't just make statements like that and then when time comes around, Charlie Cox is committed to something else and they can't get him. He's like, nah, I'm not doing this shit.
Yeah. I mean, there was a rumor a long time ago that Charlie Cox was going to be playing Matt Murdock, not Daredevil, just Matt Murdock, as Peter Parker's lawyer in Far From Home, because he's got all that, you see him in the police interviews and stuff. That he was going to have this small cameo as his lawyer. So that would be interesting, an interesting way to introduce it, because it's always been this one-sided relationship before the current, era of Marvel TV. Before that, it was they would reference the movies and stuff, but the movies would never reference the shows. So it'd be kind of interesting to have him show up. And he is going to show up, but it'd be interesting to have him show up first in a big movie like Spider-Man, The rumor is he is showing up in Echo, but there was a rumor even before that, like I said, that he was going to be in the new Spider-Man,
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how that works out. Our next story, director Paul Verhoeven and writer Edward Neumeier, who have partnered together on Robocop and Starship Troopers. Of course, Paul Verhoeven has also done a bunch of other stuff, including Basic Instinct.
Yeah.
They're going to reteam, and it's going to be, even though the projects they worked on before were Robocop and Starship Troopers, the more sci-fi part of Paul Verhoeven stuff, they're going to be reteaming for a political erotic thriller, which is Paul Verhoeven's other field.
Right.
That he works on.
I mean, I don't know. I like Robocop. I like Starship Troopers. So we'll have to see how it turns out.
But what if they were female-led erotic political thrillers?
I don't know. I don't know.
The movie is called Young Sinner, and as I said, it's a female-led political erotic thriller. So yeah, it's just interesting that Paul Verhoeven has these kind of two lanes that he works in,
Right,
and that he's partnering with the writer from one lane, bringing them over to the other lane. Next piece of news, another Marvel one. Shang Chi sequel confirmed.
That's not surprising. I mean, that's the least surprising news about. It'd be more surprising if they came out and said we're not making our one of these.
Yeah,
it's because Marvel, obviously they make these movies. They launch these movies with the intention of these films becoming franchises. They don't make a movie like Shang-Chi and say, yeah, this is a one-off unless we change our mind at some point. No, this is developed expressly because they want it to happen and they want to make more. I mean, the only way Shang-Chi 2 wasn't going to happen was if it was a catastrophic bomb, which didn't happen. So
yeah. I mean, it's not surprising at all. It's cool they announced it though, and they also announced that the original director is returning. They didn't say anything about Simu Liu, so I'm guessing he's been recast.
he's obviously gone.
He made a cheeky little tweet because there were a bunch of haters saying that, like, that the movie wasn't going to get a sequel, that was going to flop and all this stuff.
I don't know, like, what fantasy world those people were living in,
just haters. And he made a little cheeky response that said, like, it flopped so hard it got a sequel or something, which was fun. But that's another good story, another Marvel story. The next story isn't so great, and that is that AP Bio has been canceled after 4 seasons at both Peacock and NBC. It had 2 seasons at NBC and 2 seasons.
Now that I have Peacock, I guess I can check it out.
Yeah, now that it's canceled,
you've been
it's the perfect time to
jump
in.
Yeah, it's the perfect time to jump in. Now it's been canceled. That's how I operate.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was canceled. I mean, it got 4 seasons, which is, I mean, back in the day, we were used to, like, loving a show and having it get canceled after 1 season, or
look on the bright side here. It was canceled on NBC after 2 seasons, and normally in a streaming world, that would have been it.
Yeah.
So the fact that I got 2 more seasons on Peacock is, it is a minor miracle.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of world we live in now, and who knows, maybe the show will come back in like 25 years.
Yeah.
That's also the world we're living in.
But it just means Dennis can show up more on It's Always Sunny now. He's free to reclaim a bigger role on that show.
Then our next news story, Netflix is making a Death to 2021 special. They did this last year. They did a Death to 2020 special. They're
going to do this like every year. This is going to be like a yearly thing now.
It's weird because it made so much sense for 2020. It was such a shit year.
Yeah.
That, like, you wanted to kind of, like, put it to bed, but this year kind of is continuing that shit year. It's like they're still kind of like in it, so I wonder if they're just doing it because
COVID
of this.
Wasn't just going to, like, say, oh shit, it's no longer 2020. Guess I can no longer exist.
Yeah.
It's like,
I hope that they don't, like, carry it on unless it's just a really shit year, like, it'd be kind of weird to just have it be every year.
To, like, every year.
Yeah.
Regardless of quality.
Charlie Brooker, creator of Black Mirror, did the original one. I think he's involved in the second one, but, like, not as closely. And I was actually a little let down because Death to 2020, I thought was going to be kind of like his new version of, he used to do something on Channel 4 in the UK called Year Wipe. So he had this show called, like, News Wipe, where it, like, would go over, like, news stories. And then he did one every year called Year Wipe that basically just went through, like, all the shit that happened in the year. It wasn't, like, fictionalized. It was just like, him talking on a couch and then intercut with, like, clips of other comedians talking about things and, showing, like, clips of things and stuff like that. And that's kind of how they summarize the end of the year. So I thought, like, oh, they're doing it, but they're doing it for Netflix. So they have a new name and they're and then they ended up, instead having, like, all these A-list actors, but playing, like, they weren't themselves, like, contributing. They were playing characters and it was, like, more fictionalized and stuff. So I didn't like it as much as I liked the Year Wipe specials he used to do. But I mean, it was still decent to watch and it's cathartic to put some of these shit years behind us, So that's good. And then our last news story, The Boys, they've announced an animated 8-episode anthology spinoff series called Diabolical.
This is like the second spinoff series they've announced of The Boys.
This is coming soon, though. This is coming early 2022.
Amazon is obviously very happy with the success of that show, right?
Yeah. This is an anthology series, so each episode is like a separate story that just kind of takes place in this world. It's animated. It's only 8 episodes, and it's coming early 2022. So it's coming before The Boys season 3 and before that other Boys spinoff series, the one that takes place in a college for supers or whatever. But yeah, exciting. This looks like it'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be really
animated
cool.
Anthologies, like every franchise, I guess, has to have one.
Yeah. It seems to be the new thing now.
Started with the Animatrix, and then they did the one for Star Wars, and they need to have an animated anthology for everything.
I hope Netflix does an anime anthology for Cowboy Bebop. That'd be amazing. See that in animation?
Cowboy Bebop in animation.
In an anime style?
Are you crazy?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That would never work.
Never.
That's it for our news segment, though. So on to our next segment, which is On the Horizon.
On the horizon.
on the Horizons, where we look at stuff that's coming up in the next week or so. Today, we're covering stuff coming out between Thursday, December 9th and Friday, December 17th. So just over a week. Let's kick things off with Bloods. This is a British pandemic comedy. So there's 3 shows on the list this week that are about pandemics. And I think they all started before the pandemic. Like they all went into production before the pandemic. So this isn't like reactionary. This is like weird coincidence, you know, or anticipation, you know?
Right.
So this is a British one. It's coming Thursday, December 9th on Hulu. Hulu has another pandemic comedy also coming on the same day. This one from New Zealand, but this one focuses on where it's only men that are dying. And it's like most of the men in the world die from it. So it's kind of like Why the Last Man, except it's a comedy. And it's called Creameries, which tells me it's probably going to be like a raunchy comedy.
Oh, God damn. that just sounds awful. That sounds terrible.
Who knows though? It's New Zealand. That's you know where Taika Waititi's from. That's where What We Do in the Shadows came from. So.
Just because they gave us one good person.
But that's also on Hulu. So the same day. So remember, tomorrow, Thursday, December 9th, is Pandemic Thursday.
It's so weird that they actually developed a South Park post-COVID before COVID ever happened. They just happened to name the pandemic COVID. It's crazy.
Actually, yeah, now that you mention that, there's 4 pandemic things on this list, not 3. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. Because the second part of post-COVID is coming up soon.
Yeah. So the next thing coming up on Thursday, December 9th. So hopefully this podcast is up and out before this happens, because otherwise it'd be pointless to mention this. But the Game Awards is going to be airing on Thursday, December 9th. That's tomorrow for us right now as we're recording it. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully this podcast is up before.
Major reveals.
But it's going to be at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're on the East Coast of the United States, that's going to be 6:30. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to tell you where it is, you know, what time it is if you're like in London or something, because I have no fucking clue. I think it's like 9 hours difference. I'm not sure.
Just list all the times and the time zone.
Every time zone in the world. Yeah.
We have like an hour for that. So.
If you're watching in Mars, it's like
yeah, it's gonna be cool. We know some things, like they announced. Well, like Paramount Pictures showed off a new poster for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and they also announced that they're going to drop the first trailer for the movie at the Game Awards tomorrow night. Also, apparently we're getting the first trailer for the new Sonic game as well at the Game Awards.
And apparently like 3 to 4 other like really big, I think they refer to them as like Elden Ring level reveals.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Saying
like,
a lot.
Yeah, which is
with how hyped that was.
Which is like raising hype to unreasonable levels, because it's probably like something like, here's the new game from some guy who was like a producer on Call of Duty. It's like, yeah, okay, I don't care.
They're adding Cranky Kong.
That's usually how it goes.
They're adding Cranky Kong to the new Kirby game.
Yeah, there you go. That's an Elden Ring level announcement right there.
Yeah,
are you kidding?
That's the Game Awards. It's going to be on YouTube, Twitch, IGN, Steam, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Pretty much anything that can have access to it, it's going to be on there. And then there's going to be a bunch of unofficial streams, I'm sure, where streamers are watching along with you or something, if that's the way you want to watch it. Again, 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 6:30 Eastern. And that's tomorrow, December 9th, the Game Awards. Next up is Encounter. This is an alien invasion movie with Riz Ahmed. He was like the main star of The Night Of. He's going to be the main star of this alien invasion movie that's coming on Friday, December 10th on Amazon Prime. On the same day, The Expanse is returning on Amazon Prime. I believe it's its final season.
Yeah.
And then also on Friday, December 10th, but not on Prime, is Saturday Morning All-Stars Hits. This is a sketch comedy thing from Saturday Night Live's Kyle Mooney that's going to have animation and live action. And
yeah, I saw a trailer. The trailer looks like a total like acid trip. Like it gets dark pretty fast.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be like trippy, but also like a nostalgia bomb at the same time.
It's a nostalgia. It's funny because like I was watching it and like it's like a bunch of parodies of stuff like children's pop culture from the 80s, not just general, like mainly what we watched as kids.
Yeah, as it says, Saturday Morning All-Star Hits, you know? So it's going to be like the Saturday morning cartoon lineup.
And I saw it, everything is familiar and strange at the same time, and I just thought that line from True Detective where it's like, this looks like somebody's memory of Saturday morning cartoons, but the memory's fading.
So that's Saturday Morning All-Star Hits coming Friday, December 10th on Netflix. And lastly, on Friday, December 10th, we have more shows, but for Friday, December 10th, West Side Story is coming to theaters. This is a remake done by Steven Spielberg. So that's coming for all of you Jets out there.
Nice.
Then on Thursday, December 16th, we have MacGruber coming to Peacock.
Yeah, they're doing like a whole series of that, which I watched the trailer. I wasn't like too like super impressed with the trailer. I liked the skits when they ran on Saturday Night Live. I never watched the movie, like the actual movie they did.
It was apparently a big cult hit. I haven't seen it either, but it had like cult popularity, you know?
Yeah, it had cult popularity. Kind of surprised they're bringing the character back for a series, but also not surprised because like it's Peacock and they need
they have the rights to it. They need to they need to put something on Peacock.
Right, exactly.
Either that or new seasons of Joey.
Right.
So that's MacGruber if you're into that at all. I thought the trailer was a little funny. I liked the whole
like
over seriously taking some of the really stupid lines, like the smell you later, where he's like, smell you later. And I mean that sincerely.
I like the line where he's like, my government said they needed me and I RSVP'd, yes, queen.
Yeah, so that should be like funny. We'll see how that ends up being. Our next show on the list, you just mentioned it earlier on, and that is South Park Post-COVID, The Return of COVID.
Yeah,
so this is part 2 of Post-COVID, coming to Paramount Plus on Thursday, December 16th. I'm excited. I didn't anticipate that Post-COVID was a 2-parter. You know,
no, I didn't either. I thought it was a one-off. One thing I thought was funny because like the running gag in South Park is that Kenny always dies, right? But I like how in this like they actually tie it into the plot.
Yeah.
So like he dies from COVID and then that's how like everybody learns COVID's back apparently.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm looking forward to that as well. I thought the first post-COVID special was all right, but like, you know, it felt like it was building to something more, and what it's building to looks like it's going to be better. So I'm excited to see where it's going with the next one.
Nice.
And next up, we have Station 11. This is another pandemic. This one is a drama miniseries. Where every other pandemic, we've mentioned 3 pandemic ones so far, and they were all comedies. This one's not. This one is a large-scale drama, like miniseries that has like a pretty notable cast and, you know, crew behind it. It's like a big production that HBO was working on like 6 months. They put in the order like 6 months before COVID hit. And that's coming on Thursday, December 16th on HBO Max. Next up is Mother Android or Mother/Android. This is a Chloe Grace Moritz-led robot uprising movie. It looks kind of like A Quiet Place with robots instead of aliens.
Yeah.
So it's like basically the survivors of a apocalyptic robot takeover, like Terminator-style robot takeover of the world. And now there's like people and they're trying to get by, but they have to like sneak past the robots and stuff, like Quiet Place style. That's coming Friday, December 17th on Hulu. It's a movie, not a series. Then we also have Swan Song, which is another movie. This is Mahershala Ali from True Detective Season 3, Our New Blade. He's going to be leading this sci-fi drama movie that's basically about a guy who's dying and who is offered the chance, a new procedure that's going to allow his family to not grieve his death or something like that. So weird description, weird concept. It's like high concept sci-fi. And that's coming on Friday, December 17th to Apple TV Plus and theaters. It's one of those both at the same time things. Then lastly, for TV, on Friday, December 17th, The Witcher Season 2 drops on Netflix. So lots of fantasy stuff right now. You know, I've been watching The Wheel of Time, been enjoying that. And The Witcher now is dropping as well, Season 2.
So definitely, it's a good time for shows on streaming. A lot of good stuff out right now
and
coming up.
And then we have 2 movies to end off our On the Horizon, which is Nightmare Alley, which is the new Guillermo del Toro movie, is dropping on Friday, December 17th in theaters. But more importantly, I think for our kind of fan base and for us in general, Spider-Man No Way Home is dropping on Friday, December 17th in theaters as well. So that's going to be
just an indie movie.
Yeah, just a little known film.
Under the radar. We like to point out some of the hidden gems of the film world there.
We like to expose our audience to things that they normally wouldn't hear about.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, Friday, December 17th in theaters, Spider-Man No Way Home. And that is the end of our On the Horizon segment.
Did you see, speaking of Spider-Man, did you see like some of the comments like Tom Holland has been saying in interviews? Apparently, like No Way Home, there was a backup plan if they couldn't get everybody on board to do this big, crazy crossover movie. Then the backup plan was to do the third Spider-Man movie as a Kraven the Hunter film.
That's what it was like originally rumored to be, like long before all the crossover stuff started coming out. Like I'd been hearing about the Kraven the Hunter thing, and like they were doing, because of the way that the second one ended.
Yeah.
It seems very fitting.
Yeah.
For that
and
ending.
Tom Holland just said in an interview, came out today with Collider, that was plan B, that he saw, like he got pitched a Kraven the Hunter film. And he said it sounded really cool, but Tom Holland also said he won't elaborate on it in case it does end up getting made down the line.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. I know Sony is, for some reason, developing a standalone Kraven the Hunter movie that they're trying to do.
That's Sony.
Yeah.
With their little, like,
yeah.
No Spider-Man Spider-Verse movies they have. Their Venomverse movies. Yeah, they have that. And there's they recently showed like the first clip from the new Into the Spider-Verse movie, which was like a big deal.
Also, Kevin Feige is apparently on board with getting Spider-Man and Venom together. Kevin Feige said in a new interview recently that Tom Hardy is iconic as Venom. And said there was a lot of maneuvering and stuff that they had to do to make the post-credit scene of Venom happen, which I won't spoil that here. But like, if you watch Venom 2, there's a post-credit scene and stuff happens.
I worry a little bit just because those movies weren't that great, I love Tom Hardy and I think he's good as Venom, but like the movies, like plot-wise, were like such a mess that I just wonder if they're going to introduce that, if they're going to say like, oh, Venom fits into this universe, then that's going to be like, okay, then that whole movie has to fit into that universe, right?
Kevin Feige basically said as soon as the first Venom movie came out and proved to be a hit, then he started thinking, okay, we got to bring these characters together.
I mean, that'll be interesting. It's just they're kind of the Sony's little like non-Spider-Man Spider-Verse stuff is like, it's basically everything that we used to joke about the DCEU. About it being all dark and unnecessarily dark and stuff. That's what those are. So it's like,
and if you watch like the trailers for Morbius, it so much looks like a clone of Venom.
Yeah.
So just with like a different main character.
Yeah.
It's like it's the exact
format
same formula
that Sony created. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just cut and paste. It's Mad Libs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Mad Libs. Yeah, exactly.
And that movie obviously has a bunch of connections to Spider-Man. There's like literally a poster of Spider-Man in the background of scenes that says murderer over it,
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like it's the Spider-Man from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oddly enough. It's weird. And then the guy from
is this in the
Vultures
universe?
Is in the trailer for
it's
Morbius.
Michael Keaton is in Morbius apparently.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. I'm guessing they're saying that the Venomverse is a different universe in the multiverse.
Yes, it is.
And that they're going to cross over some of it. And I don't know.
Yeah, it's a different universe. I don't know. Maybe No Way Home becomes an impetus where they can make everything a little more nebulous. They could just maybe like they could use No Way Home, like what happens in No Way Home with like the breaches and stuff, as kind of like a narrative tool to say, okay, these characters can come in and out of the MCU as we need them to.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It'll be interesting. We'll have to see once Spider-Man No Way Home is out, and we've seen it and we know what's going on with all that.
Right.
But that is our On the Horizon segment. And now we're going to move on to our final segment, our main segment of the night. Full spoilers, in which we are talking about not one but two episodes of Hawkeye. Hawkeye episode 3, Echoes, and episode 4, Partners. Am I right? So starting off, I was interested in what your reaction was to episode 3. There was a quasi cameo that a lot of people thought was in the episode.
Oh, so you mean like the arm, like with the business suited arm that vaguely looks like it could be Kingpin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Was that your reaction when you saw saw it, were you thinking Kingpin the second you saw that?
Oh yeah. It was so very much like.
Yeah, they even had like, I think if I remember correctly, you could hear him walking, or like because you were getting it kind of from her perspective, so you're getting these dull, and you heard these like really kind of loud thumping, and they always made Kingpin seem so heavy.
Yes.
Like they did like with the audio engineering to make him sound very, very heavy when he moved around and stuff, like in Daredevil, but in other things too, in other properties. And that kind of really cued me in as well, not just the look, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it can't be anybody other than Kingpin, right? Because they keep hinting that this organization is being run by some unknown guy. And when they're doing a flashback to Echo's childhood, right? Was it her uncle? The guy who was taking care of her?
I don't think
they directly said it was her dad, right?
I think it was supposed to be her dad. I don't know.
Okay, well, her dad... I
don't think they said specifically.
Well, like her father, right, is like, obviously, he was the top lieutenant running things, you know, at the time.
For the Tracksuit Mafia, yeah.
For the Tracksuit Mafia, yeah. He was obviously running things. So when he's talking to her, you know, and you see that hand reach over and pinch her cheek, you know, you got the impression like that's his boss.
Yeah.
Right. And
I kind of wonder though, is it going to be Kingpin as the boss, or is it going to be like a fake out and it's going to be like Kate Bishop's like new stepdaddy or whatever or thing?
It's going to be Jack.
Yeah.
I don't know. That arm looked a little too big to be Jack's.
Yeah, but that could be.
And also that didn't look like his style of clothing so far. Like, I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's
but
a
it's
stretch.
like, whenever I see something like that from a Marvel movie, I always anticipate that it's a fake out.
Yeah, like they did the whole thing with like Quicksilver and WandaVision.
Yeah,
and that turned out,
I always anticipate it's a fake out of some kind. And that's, you know, you mentioned Maya Echo's father, who in this is played by Zahn McClarnon from Westworld, had that amazing episode of Westworld where it followed the Native American robot.
And, you know, like, of course, the backstory is Ronan killed him, and that's Echo's beef. He's like Clint, you know, you could have toned it down just a little bit during that period.
Yeah, they had, I think it was in episode 4, because we're not really going episode by episode. We can kind of like bring in stuff from both of those.
Yeah, we can talk about both episodes.
In episode 4, there, you know, was the part where Kate basically guessed that Clint was Ronan as well. And Clint kind of confirmed that. And she was kind of like making excuses like, oh, but, you know, it was the time and you're going through. And he was like, no, there's no excuses. I have to live with that. I want to end this. I want to put this to rest.
Well, right now, yeah, he wants to put this to rest. Right now, his main concern is Kate, because she's wrapped up in all this now. Because it became very clear now that just explaining to these people that Kate isn't Ronan isn't enough. Echo believes Kate is associated with Ronan, and so that makes Kate a target, like a legitimate target as far as Echo is concerned.
And Hawkeye coming in to help Kate has put Hawkeye on her radar as well. Yeah. We see in episode 4 when they break into her apartment that she's got a list of like his family members and stuff.
Yeah, she has a list of his family members, so she's going after Hawkeye. Also, episode 4 we get like another cameo. This time it's more direct than the cameo in episode 3, because, you know, as they're breaking into Echo's apartment, obviously there's a silent alarm. Echo shows up to dish out some damage on Kate, but while that's happening, Hawkeye is fighting a mystery assailant.
And he's like, at first we think that that's Echo, and then Echo actually shows up there, and it's like, well, then who's Hawkeye?
She's fighting Kate. Yeah, because like Kate's like, okay, Echo's here, and Hawkeye's like, yeah, I know, and Kate's like, no, can you help me with Echo? He's like, what? No, I'm fighting Echo. You know, like,
yeah. Turns out that Clint is actually fighting. The cameo for this episode, or kind of not even really a cameo, just the character introduction for this show for that character.
Yeah, because she's gonna show up again.
Yeah,
obviously. Yeah, you go ahead with it.
It's Yelena from Black Widow.
Yep, it's Yelena. And I was thinking about this, like, it's cool. Also, like, if you're just watching this, if you didn't see Black Widow, then this is kind of like, it's like, sorry, but your context is in another movie.
Yeah. Clint did say, like, they sent a Black Widow assassin.
Yeah.
So, like, even if you don't get the full context of it, you're like, like, oh, okay, Black Widow, like,
yeah, but we know, like,
there.
If you watch Black Widow, if you watch the post-credit scene for Black Widow, Yelena is aimed like a bullet at Clint.
Yeah, Elaine sent Yelena after Clint.
Yeah, Elaine, yeah. by the Countess there. Who's up to stuff? What stuff? We don't know. But
that was the arm on Echo's shoulder, or pinched her cheek.
Yeah. So that was
it was Elaine. That was and then she
Countess
danced in front of a camcorder.
She danced in front of a camcorder. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, Yelena
Larry David is behind it all, I'm telling you.
Because, basically, the Countess has motives. Yelena's there because she thinks Clint killed Black Widow, but who put that idea in her head? The Countess. Mm-hmm. So, like, Yelena's there for the reason she thinks, but there's, like, another motive reason she's there and that we don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to get resolved in this series. It seems to be something that they're building through the various projects, because also Falcon and Winter Soldier, we got the Countess and U.S. Agent.
Yeah.
So they're definitely building something with that plot line. So this is part of like a larger overarching plot line in the MCU.
Mm-hmm. So I have to say at this point, I think I really liked episode 3. Episode 3 is the one that had that big car chase scene. That
we saw in like the preview.
Yeah, I love the scene. I loved all the stuff that followed Echo and her backstory. I thought all that was interesting.
Yes.
But episode 4, I really wasn't that into.
Okay, so what were your issues with episode 4? I thought it was all right.
I just thought it feels like it's getting cluttered and a lot of stuff just isn't making sense. It's starting to feel like the bad side of a Netflix Marvel show.
Yeah.
That's what it's starting to feel like to me. Like it's dark and revenge and these kind of brooding characters and plots, but with like little reason behind why they're so brooding or like not enough explanation. Very like polar, like black and white thinking and stuff.
I thought like it was very cliche at the end where like Clint just like after he gets like attacked by Yelena, he tells Kate he doesn't want anything to do with her.
Yeah.
Trying to like get rid of her because I get it. Like the entrance of Yelena like really spooked Clint and now he's thinking that if he keeps Kate around, she's definitely going to get hurt.
And he had the scene with Kate's mom where she was like, where he putting that on him. But like all that stuff, all that feels like the bad end of Marvel Netflix shows to me. That's what all this reminds me of. The bad parts of like Luke Cage, season 2, or the bad parts of Iron Fist, all the parts of Iron Fist, or, it just kind of has that same, like the way that, is it the Meachums in Iron Fist? Like the way they just kind of act like this really kind of irrational mustache twirling villain that they look off to the distance. It shows that they have maybe something beyond their evilness, but they're not really. It's like that kind of stuff we've been getting that from Jack the entire time in this thing, but now it's like really starting to permeate more through the show, and it's starting to bother me. I think I'm coming to the conclusion that I might just end up not liking Hawkeye very much, like the show. I think of the live action ones that might be the worst, and I was kind of anticipating it might be one of the better ones because the trailer was so good. But this kind of stuff, like you said, the cliche way that he dismissed Kate is like, that really bothers me, that kind of stuff. It just feels cheap,
Right. Yeah. And that's fair. I don't think like any of that stuff has bothered me to that degree yet, but like I could see where you're coming from.
Yeah. It's been bothering me a little bit, but like episode 3 was like mostly a reprieve from that. There was so much cool action scenes, so many cool little moments and stuff that I was able to really enjoy it. And then this is just kind of like, it's all the kind of like doubts I was starting to have after like episode 2, after the first 2 episodes, where I was like, I like this, but there's a few things I'm not so sure on. It was like that, like magnified in episode 4. So I wasn't too keen. And it seems really cluttered. I mean, we only have 2 episodes left. Echo is still on like a revenge path, but she's supposed to eventually be like a hero, right? So is she going to have like a Martha moment?
She's getting like her
like your name's Martha too, or your father's name is William too.
She's supposed to be getting her own show. So
and then you have the whole thing with Yelena now, like that they didn't introduce now until the very end of episode 4.
Yeah.
So now it's like what, you got 2 episodes to resolve that. It's
like episode. How many episodes is this series again? 6.
There's only 6
episodes.
episodes.
Jeez. Yeah, there's only 2 more episodes for this.
And look how convoluted it's getting, and we don't have like any progress on this, on like the plot basically since like the first episode.
Yeah, that's right. Because I was just going to mention like, oh man, I can't wait until like the plot kicks into gear, and it's like,
there's 2 episodes left.
Okay, yeah. Ouch. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. It just feels like it's coming to a rushed ending, and I'm not too keen on that. There's also other things, like we brought up last time we were talking about the show. We were talking about the whole, like, the LARPing scene and how it was just mishandled. Like, it just seemed like he was bored through it instead. And, like, it would have been more entertaining if, like, he begrudgingly enjoyed it, you know?
I thought it was, like, corny. They brought the LARPing, like, characters back. It's like...
Yeah.
I thought that was really corny. Like...
And they treated them the same way they did before, too. It's not like they brought them back and brought them in for more like comic relief or making things more interesting. The one thing I really liked from the LARPers coming back was, that's my bag.
yeah. That's my bag.
Don't you have a bag? He's like, no. He's like, that's my bag. My girlfriend gave me that bag. I thought that was funny. But besides that, like, they just, I don't know, like, it just feels like you could cut that out entirely, the whole LARPing, you know, characters and all that stuff, and it would feel less cluttered and better. Or you could have handled it in a funnier way, and it would have been like added more comic relief to the series, which is, I think, the series needs, and it's what the trailer implied the series had a lot of, and it doesn't seem to really
implied
be that
it was
much
like going to be like a buddy comedy.
Yeah,
I don't know why I keep expecting these like Marvel shows to like be a buddy comedy. They don't. They all want to lean too hard in the drama. It's like,
yeah, I mean, I think Loki did probably the best as far as the buddy comedy aspect, you know, but even then it's like it kind of diverted a bit. But I mean, it wasn't really promising that as its selling point anyways. But both Falcon and Winter Soldier and Hawkeye have like leaned into the idea of this being like a buddy comedy kind of thing, and neither one has really lived up to it.
Right.
So like I said, I'm just really starting to get a whiff of, you know, maybe it is true that we're going to get all the Netflix Marvel characters popping up in Echo, because it really is starting to smell like a Netflix Marvel show right now. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Starting to kind of get a little worried about this. Is there anything else about these two episodes that you want to talk about, or things that you liked or enjoyed?
I think we covered about everything.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. Short podcast. Just wasn't a lot to talk about. I was hoping that there'd be more. Like after episode 3, I thought there was a lot of to talk about. And then episode 4 was just kind of didn't really do much.
Yeah. Again, like Yelena like came into it, but that was like at the end of the episode. It really felt like this was more plot buildup, which is weird since, you know, it's over halfway through the show now.
Also, Yelena's like best when she was like funny in Black Widow, and she's so far completely silent.
Oh, I mean, why would she not be like silent? Why would she be cracking jokes at somebody she's trying to kill?
Because she was cracking jokes the whole time during Black Widow. Like even when she was like fighting, she would accidentally land into the you know, Natasha pose and like give.
I mean, I don't know. That's just the way that movie was written, though.
Yeah, like she just seems like the kind of character that even as like an antagonist, even as like in just an action scene, that she should be kind of on the funny side.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're not getting that yet. I mean, it's just we only got a glimpse of it, so hopefully that comes through. But I just have this feeling we're not going to get that they're going to play her too serious.
She's probably only going to be in like the next episode, and then that's probably getting resolved.
That would be
somehow.
so weak to just even bother to put her in
because 6 episodes, you gotta think like we can't stretch this out.
Yeah, it's so cluttered for a 6-episode show, and we're 2/3 of the way through it. It's just there's been like no real progress in what's happening. Like we're still at like episode 1 level of like what's going on.
Yeah, pretty much. We're still going on. We still think Jack's involved, but you know they don't have any like hard evidence to do anything about that.
You think Kate's mom's involved? Because she's been throwing off vibes too.
It's very possible that she is. Like that's probably like a big twist that they're working towards. Like because like Jack, I'm gonna say Kate's mom is probably the mastermind here, because like they're making it Jack like very obvious. It's super obvious that Jack is involved. So like if they're going to like do a twist, like it would definitely be like, yeah, Jack's involved, but like everything is her mother's idea.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that's where it's going. Like we're going to find out she's the one that killed Armand, and somehow she's going to know how to fight too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. Like, you know, like I said, I liked episode 3 a lot, and then episode 4 is just kind of has me a little bit nervous about the rest of the show. But we'll have to see how that turns out. We got 2 more episodes left. We're going to be covering that next week and the week after as our main topics on Full Spoilers. So that's it, I guess, for Hawkeye this week and for our show. One thing I didn't initially put in the notes here, but I think should maybe be addressed, is that Martha DeLaurentis passed passed away just recently.
Oh, okay.
She's the producer behind like Hannibal. Brian Fuller being the creative. She was like on the business side of things more.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sad. She's a major producer. Delaurentis is a famous name. Her husband was Dino Delaurentis, who was of course a legendary producer. And yeah, she just passed away recently, and so R.I.P. to her. And thank you for all of the effort that she put in to get a show like Hannibal on the air.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's it for our show. Thank you everybody for listening. As I said, Hawkeye episode 5 will be next week. Also next week, we're going to be talking about the Game Awards. We'll talk about what was announced and maybe who won if we give two shits about that.
I know you're looking forward to who's winning like best streamer. Like that's that's the most important thing in the world to me, I think all the things that I'm really hoping for to win in any of the categories are like probably the least likely options to win in like every category I care about. So when I went through the list, I'm like, yeah, nobody's talking about any of these for this category. Nope.
Yeah, it's like I don't think Dread's gonna win for Game of the Year, so
no, I don't think
that's not gonna happen. Everybody still has a fucking hate boner for Cyberpunk, so that's not gonna win for Best RPG.
It probably looking at the RPGs, actually shouldn't win.
I've played Cyberpunk from beginning to end. It's not the sandbox game that everybody wanted. It is an RPG, and as an RPG, it's good.
I'm not doubting you there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, what's up for Best RPG? Let me take a look real quick.
It's like Tales of Arise, I think.
Let's see. Yeah, I know Tales of Arise is on there. I haven't played that yet either. Okay, yeah, Monster Hunter Rise, Scarlet Nexus, Tales of Rise, and Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Yeah, I think Cyberpunk's better than all of them.
Wow.
I think it's a good game. It's got a good story, but people have such a hate boner for it, and there are there are legitimate reasons to hate it and stuff. But as an RPG, I fucking loved that game.
Right.
And I don't think it has a chance in hell of winning, and that's the only one in that entire category that I care about winning. I'm playing Shin Megami Tensei 5 right now, but it basically just feels like mature Pokemon. Like, the story's okay.
Adult Pokemon.
Yeah. The story's okay. It's fun to play. The gameplay loops are pretty fun, but it still has that like Pokemon loop that I'm not really a fan of. And then like Monster Hunter, it's like, God, it's another fucking game in that franchise to me, which is now like all of our friends that listen to this podcast that love Monster Hunter all like hate me now.
Yeah, you just pissed them off. Congratulations.
I'm not a fan of Monster Hunter, and so it's like I said, I think everything that I'm rooting for doesn't have a chance in hell of winning. So I don't think any of that's going to excite me, but we'll see. I'm more interested in what's going to be announced.
If Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl doesn't win Best Fighting Game, I'm going to riot. I can't believe that got nominated. It's like, that is the definition of we can't think of anything else to put here.
Wasn't that like a big deal though? Because it was like it's supposed to feel a lot like Smash, and it even has like Z dashing and
I guess
I heard that people love.
I heard like from some people play it's not that great. It's not.
There's so much hype going into that game though that I'm not surprised it was nominated based on all the hype going into it.
Speaking of Smash, Sakurai recently made some comments regarding Smash Brothers, or the future of Smash Brothers, and he said
it's ending, right? Please.
Well, he said today. He said that
I'm sick of these sex pest fans of mine.
No, he said in a new interview like today, a new Smash Brothers is not in development, and maybe fans shouldn't expect there to be another one.
Yeah, good. Good. That franchise to me has been stagnant for too long. Like I prefer if they make another crossover game that does something different.
Apparently he did the interview with The Verge today about Smash Brothers, and let's see. I'm just skimming through this real quick to find the juicy bits.
I mean, fans are still playing fucking Melee in tournaments and shit. Like, what, 25 years later, 20 years later, 25 years later, something like that? How old is the game? The GameCube just turned 20, right? That's what it turned this year?
Yes, it turned 20
so,
this
yeah,
year.
So, and Smash came out in December, like the December it launched.
Well, like, you're thinking, you got to remember also Smash 64.
I know, but I'm talking about Melee in particular.
Yeah,
is still being played in tournaments.
Yeah, it's still being played play 20 years later. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's like, even if this
crazy.
is canceled, it's like, who cares? Like, you have a game that you can play for another 20 years.
It says, do you ever have regrets about not being able to work on projects outside Smash over the last few years? And Sakurai said, I do sometimes look back.
And then Sakurai started crying.
Well, he said, I do sometimes look back and think about the fact that there may have been other opportunities had I not been working on Smash Brothers. However, I have no regrets because Super Smash Bros. Is like none other, and this was an opportunity I could not have gained with any other project.
And then he burst into tears.
Then they asked him follow-up, if you did return to doing our Smash, would your role be different, reduced? He says, I think we've reached the limit, at least in terms of volume of content fighters. Basically, if I were to have the opportunity to work on our Super Smash Bros. Game, that means we would have to shrink the roster. But we would need to think about whether fans will be pleased about that.
Yeah, like I said, I think that they can just like port and do graphical updates of fucking Ultimate, you know?
He also said he's been doing too much of the work by himself, and he says the current iteration of Smash Bros. Has too much of his personality poured into it. He says in order for a long-time series to continue thriving today, we need to think about eliminating the series' dependence on just one person's vision.
Yeah. So basically he read Jack Dorsey's resign letter for Twitter. He was inspired. Yeah, I think that Smash has been in such a drought of innovation, and because fans demand that it be the same thing, just more characters. Yeah. And I'd so much rather have them make a like new crossover game that's completely different.
I think the next version is an opportunity to do something different, you know, even with shrink roster. Let Smash Ultimate stand
as the ultimate Smash?
As the ultimate iteration of classic Smash.
Yeah.
Let it like live up to that name.
I think they almost can't use the same name though. Like I think they almost have to do like a completely new thing. I'd love to see them do like a 3D fighter that's like a 4-player kind of thing, more along the lines of like
Smash Brothers 3D. Just rip off Power Stone.
That's exactly what I mean. Power Stone would have like, it was kind of like Smash Bros, but a 3D iteration with more activity, and
it was like a really awesome game.
I think something Capcom like that would be better, you know.
Capcom was like, we're going to make 2 of these and then never talk about it again.
Yeah, honestly, like I think if they did something like that or something completely different that was also a crossover, a big core audience crossover game, you know, but isn't the Smash formula, I think would be better than just doing the Smash formula again, because it's just the same. I'm not saying it would be as successful. I'm just saying that, like, to me, Smash is stagnant.
All right. Well, do you want to wrap this up?
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next week with Hawkeye Episode 5 and the Game Awards coverage. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can follow Will. He is at Voxel Hero. Yeah, leave a comment, good, bad, or indifferent, anywhere you can, whether it be on Twitter, on our SoundCloud page, on our website, anywhere you can leave a comment, do so, good, bad, or indifferent, as I said. We would love to see it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the OnScreen podcast, the official podcast of The Little Screen. Visit our website at littlescreen.com. This podcast can be found on any major podcast client, including Pocket Cast and Apple Podcast. The entire backlog of this podcast and other content can be found on our YouTube channel.